I've done videos like this before and they seem to do well, but for this guy, I gotta do one like this. In short, I have an idea, I tell you guys the idea, and you guys tell me what you think about it in the comment section below. We're coming up to the 7th anniversary and MUI Goku, he's the favorite to drop. If not him, Super Gogeta, and also let me know if you'd want to see one of these for him too. But with these celebration units, we're 7 years into the game. How can they make the unit more spectacular than any other one they've dropped in the game already? They're gonna have to do a lot, and it's not gonna be easy to pull off. What type of kit will they give them, the element, etc, etc. Today we're gonna solely focus on the kit because I have some ideas that would make MUI Goku, not if he was to drop, but when he is to drop, better than any other variant of Ultra Instinct Goku we have in the game already. A question for the guys in the comment section, would you prefer an overpowered Ultra or a balanced Ultra? So if I give you guys an example, we have Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, we saw what happened in the anniversary last year, and then in the festival we had Ultra Beast Gohan, and we see the difference between these two units. Even though they're both pretty good, there's one clearly better than the other in their prime. Let's get into this video now. So before I get into a creative idea, let me take some things that other Ultra Instinct units have and build my spectacular MUI Goku. Feel free to leave your own ideas in the comment section below. I'm gonna tell you guys straight up, I need this guy to be cracked. He's gonna have bad defenses, and that's as normal because every Ultra Instinct unit will have the Ultra Instinct gauge, meaning that they can dodge attacks. But because of that, you have to have the trade-off for their defenses. So I don't mind him having bad defenses. Just like all the other Ultra Instincts, they can get one-shotted by blue cards by a character that's type advantage over them, but the Ultra Instinct gauge will have to be there, and we're gonna swipe Ultra UIs. So the Ultra Instinct Saiyan Goku, his specific dodge mechanic, so he's able to flip out of strike arts, but we're also gonna make it that he can flip out of blast arts. Now this isn't as great as you might think it would be because it means that your gauge will run down faster. So even though you'd be able to dodge more and you'd be able to get out of combos, your gauge runs down quicker, so you'd have to make the most of the priority much faster. There's pros and cons to this that makes it somewhat balanced, but the fact that you can't get a long combo out of him until you empty his gauge is a big step up. So not just the forward moving attacks, also the blast type attacks, the long range ones. That goes for green cards, blue cards. Ultimates can still hit, I'll let those slide, but blast arts as well, you can dodge all of those. I thought about the idea of giving him what MUI Goku has. So the red MUI emits damage every time he dodges, but instead of that, what I will do is if you flip out of a combo, you don't just flip out, you also emit damage. But if he's standing still, then it will just dodge and not emit damage. This will obviously be limited as well, 3 times. We gotta also have the Otobaki win, the Auto Dokabaki win, the time those taps, that's not happening. It's just gonna win straight up. You don't even have to tap. If you get into a time those taps with Ultra MUI Goku, you get a free win. Now if it's MUI Goku versus MUI Goku, it's gonna be a time those taps legit. Nobody's gonna win over the other unless the other person has already run down on the amount that you can have. So we're gonna say this can happen 3 times. That's only to nerf it a bit though. In reality, it should just be every time, but Otobaki wins are just crazy. I'm combining the words because it's faster to say that way. Now if I wanted to be a bad guy, I could just dogpile every single mechanic that every Ultra Instinct unit has. So for example, we'll just take Ultra UIs, drag back in, and that would be effective as well, and then we put some more stuff on top of that. But the point isn't to just make another unit just like the other ones, otherwise everyone that we get after would just be even more cracked or slightly boring because they're just stealing mechanics. The last thing I wanted to consider is if the unit would be transforming or not. Now with Ultras, we haven't got one transforming Ultra yet, and I don't think we would get one. Simply just the way Ultras are built, we have the arts card, and I don't imagine you'd be able to hold the screen to make them transform post the Ultra image. You know, you have the ink art, then you have the final piece. I think just based on how they're set up, they wouldn't have any transforming Ultras. Well, who am I to say that when we just got this big RAM update? So they might pull out some new stops. There's some potential to be tapped into with this game. Maybe MUI Goku will be the first transforming Ultra, who knows? But for this unit, I'm not designing him to be transforming, so let's get into the new idea that I have for him. These new Celebration Ultras must have a new mechanic, and I think the perfect one for MUI Goku would be a domain expansion. We need those. We need those. Now, something that could make Dragon Ball Legends have an extra nice touch is for the stage to be able to change. If certain characters can change the stage, the aesthetic of the battle will go up 10 fold. This will make an amazing difference to the gameplay experience that everybody has in Dragon Ball Legends. With these domains, you'd obviously change the environment. If you guys aren't aware of what a domain expansion is because you're not a Jujutsu Kaisen watcher, or essentially it opens a room, and in that room you get buffs tailored to whatever your moves do. The closest thing we have to this in Dragon Ball Legends is Hit's time skip. So you know Hit hits the time skip, in that moment you're frozen, but the way they've designed Hit's time skip is for him to be completely nerfed besides from his ultimate art. Or in this case, you won't necessarily be frozen, MUI Goku will just be way more busted. Now remember how I mentioned that he'll be able to flip out of almost everything, and the con to that is that his gauge will decrease a lot faster. Once he pops his domain expansion, it's his room and he'll get buffs accordingly. So it could just be damage buffs, draw speed, the typical stuff that will make him better than anybody else. But in this domain, while it's active, let's just say it's active for 20 time accounts, he gets the double vanish similar to MVP 17, and his gauge will also decrease slower. So in that state, he literally has a major advantage. With this advantage, you could make it so that he forces a 1v1. So for him, he will be locked in, and for the enemy, you will also be locked in. Similar to how MUI Goku was fighting Jiren. With this, they only get one vanish and they're playing as normal. But you've got a double vanish, you can flip out of combos, your gauge is going down slower, and for those 20 time accounts, boy, you better make the most of it because you are up 100. Now this should only be able to happen once per game, but it's worth it. The pro you get out of it is pretty much guaranteeing the ones. You might be able to lock their Rising Rush too, that could just make it so that you win these ones. Goku was locked in on those ones, but obviously just like in the anime, there should be somewhat of a drawback. So after that domain finishes, just like when MUI Goku was fighting Jiren, you know he didn't actually finish him off, and that could be the nice touch at the end where he becomes much weaker, but they don't even have to do that. I think that would just be nice for the animation aspect, but overall it ties in well with the fact that in general he's able to dodge a lot more. I said he could dodge strikes, blast, forward moving attacks, so green cards, blue cards, and long range ones all the time, but his gauge will deplete faster. But once the domain becomes active, he will essentially not have those cons anymore because his gauge will decrease a lot slower per everything that he dodges, and he gets a double vanish on top of that. So pretty much he becomes an offensive beast and he already can't get hit. So unless you just play horribly, you've pretty much got a free body. They're locked in with you. It's a 1v1. Essentially think of it like Boo Bros, but it's actually good. Yeah, so I was editing the video and I realized I might have gone overboard with some things, so let me polish up the kit real quick. So I said that he'd be able to lock you in, but I think a nice way to put it, if the domain's gonna last 20 time accounts, for at least 5 time accounts you have no switching, but then the remaining 15, the domain will be up, and for you and the enemies, you can then switch out accordingly. But if you switch out, the domain drops. If you stay in, you get to use the remaining 15. But for the enemy, with a busted kit like this, they should be able to switch out. I think that's way more fair. I was a bit excited when making this kit. Let me slide. Also, in that same boat of no switching for 5 time accounts, the enemy should also not be able to Rising Rush for the first 5 time accounts. Within 5 time accounts, if you engage, you should be fine. You can take their vanish and you'll probably flip out of everything. If they send strike, blast, blue, greens after that first arts card they hit you with, even if they PV you, you can flip out of it, and if you're fast enough, you'll be able to Rising Rush within that first time account, whereas they won't be able to Rising Rush. So you'll be safe. It's more about you taking advantage of the scenario versus having a free kill. So even though he's still busted, he's still gonna be 1 up above everybody, but it doesn't make the enemy completely useless in that moment. We have with Hit's time skip, you become completely useless. I don't want it to be like that. I still want the enemy to have a chance, but no, it's completely lopsided. 90 to 10. That first 5 time accounts, that's death row. But even beyond that, while the domain is up, Ultra MUI Goku is still the one controlling the battlefield. 2 vanishes, very reasonable. Being able to flip out of everything, very reasonable. And your gauge decreasing slower, so each dodge it will be consuming less, and also it gradually decreases even slower. While you're able to flip out of everything, you'll be able to completely utilize the 20 time accounts that you get without worry. And I think that's the perfect way to build his kit. But yeah, I just wanted to polish it up a bit because like I said, I just explained my idea. There was no script. I was just hyped. Not too much on me, but let me know. I'm not gonna go into too much detail on this, but I said in the previous video that his element will be blue. If you want to know why that is, you should check the previous video as I give a full in-depth theory and analysis on why MUI Goku, whenever he drops, is going to be blue. But I just want to elaborate on the point for this video to say that if he's blue, he'll be able to run with every other Ultra Instinct unit without overlapping element. We have one element for every Ultra Instinct unit, and if this one is blue, I'll be running a whole team of Ultra Instinct, or at least I can just focus on 3 and they'll all have different element, which means I won't have to worry about getting heavily color counted in one way or another. Yes, I could run 2 elements and another element to protect that element. By the end of the day, it's a 3v3 game, and one mistake, especially with Ultra Instinct units who I said at the start of the video do not have good defenses. They always have bad defenses. It's not going to be great. I don't plan on getting hit anyways, but that's also just a factor for why I'd want this unit to be blue. Personally, this unit is sure to be busted, and I know everybody's going to be using him whether he is or isn't. It's just a cool unit to have. I imagine he will get leaked as well, so if he doesn't get leaked, I'm not expecting him to drop. When I do drop my prediction video, at the time I dropped that prediction video, if he hasn't got leaked, he's not making the video. That's how I'm seeing it. That's how my brain works. I just feel like it's guaranteed that he gets leaked. But hey, that's just my personal opinion because every single Ultra Instinct unit has got leaked, and I don't imagine the highest rarity final boss full white hair wouldn't get leaked. But yeah, man, element blue for the reason that I said, and wait for that leak. Hey, I'm not the one doing it or advocating for it, but it's just gonna happen. The universe calls for it. That's going to make the end of the video, man. Let me know what you think about my idea for Ultra MUI Goku. I personally think it's banging, and it shows some pros and cons while making him the most busted unit in the game. He's gonna overwhelm everybody, but he's not gonna be unbeatable. I didn't mention any survivability factors because there's already the green one who has revival, and the red one gets endurance on last stand. Adding an Ultra with survivability on top when he already dodges is a bit excessive in my opinion, but I wouldn't mind a little endurance personally. But universe rep is going to be stacked for sure. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.